Hey everybody, Happy New Year. Welcome 2022. Hope you had a good holiday season. It's been a couple of weeks since I did one of these. Because of that, it's been, holidays are obviously very busy with a lot of hustle and bustle. We had a lot going here at the Doug and Bard's Bookshop. But I'm back again today for another business book review. Start off 2022 with good little jump there. So the one I have for you today is it's not technically a business book in the strictest sense of the word. It's more of a personal finance and investing book, but kind of falls into the category. We call it business book reviews because you got the alliteration, but really it's all about like personal finance and investing, business, anything that basically helps with money, pretty much. All the good ones anyway. And this one is by a guy who many of you probably know very well, and that's Tony Robbins. And this book, Money Master the Game, 7 Simple Steps to Financial Freedom, was actually the first book he wrote in over a decade. He's very prolific when it comes to videos and seminars and things like that, but he's got by comparison to a lot of other gurus, especially ones as big as him, he's got a small bibliography, but he actually said in a lot of interviews the reason he wrote this one specifically was because of the big crash that happened in 2008, when there was like so much financial turmoil going on and a lot of people didn't know what to do. And so he wanted to really dig deep into the particulars of how to actually set yourself up with a good financial future, and how you could do it through investing and saving money and turning it into compounding and all that. So and on top of that, with this book, he actually went out there and he interviewed a lot of the biggest financial minds, to kind of get like what they think about that. People like Ray Dalio, Sir John Templeton, a lot of famous investors and names you would recognize in this. Anyway, so the main takeaways of this book, first and foremost, it's because Tony Robbins is a very big mindset guy, and a lot of people, they think that he's like, an inspirer, exactly, guru. Even though he has that documentary, he's like, I'm not your guru, but he's very big on coaching, very big on getting to your best self and all that. And so the first thing is deciding that, you're going to master this area of your life and really take the time and the dedication to actually learning financial education. So there's a little bit just about like setting your mind up specifically for that. And one thing that I find personally with a lot of these business books and a lot of this stuff is that in some cases there's a lot more mindset than there actually is tactics and strategy, because the truth of the matter is if you're not in the right mindset to do something, then the rest doesn't really matter. It's sort of like diet and exercise. It's like we all know what it takes to diet. We need to eat better, we need to work out more. It's very simple, and yet people, they're always looking for shortcuts because you're not in the right mindset. But the concept of pay yourself first, he talks a lot about in this book, and that's something that a lot of people, have talked about since this book. A few people were talking about before then, but basically the idea that you need to kind of invest in yourself in, well, more ways than one, but specifically when it comes to actually putting money aside to invest in your future. So the idea being that, a lot of people have like 401ks and, IRAs and stuff with their jobs and everything. But basically he wants you to, take money and set it aside, to do a little bit more knowledgeable investing. But the idea is a lot of people, they get into the, they have the bills, they have the panic of I must pay this, I need to do this first or that first, and they never really kind of get started in investing. And the idea is that, as he points out in this book and in some interviews he did about this book, was if taxes went up by 3 or 5%, you pay it, right? So he basically wants you to actually kind of tax yourself, but it's, money that goes to you for your future. So the idea is you take 5%, 10% or whatever, automatically set it aside. That should be a priority, because if you don't start your investing and you don't actually start building up, your money machine, as he likes to call it, you're never really going to get ahead of it, and you're never going to get that life of financial freedom. He talks a lot about how important investing is, and the concept of building the money machine. Not a literal money machine, but the idea that, because the rich, when they look at money, every dollar is like a little soldier in a big army to them, kind of making more dollars and making more things. A lot of, that's kind of the difference between, the upper middle class, the wealthy, and, the poor, is that they don't really look at money as making, a tool to make more money. They just look at money as something to pay the bills and, pay your expenses. So the idea is you want to create a money machine that's making so much money that it will secure your financial future from that point on. And the best way to do that is with the power of the compounding effect. Something that Einstein, talked about is the greatest force of the universe was compounding, because, we all know when we, you think of simple things like investing, 10% returns or whatever, even though a lot of things these days, a lot of mutual funds and things like that don't really get to the 10%. He talks a lot about that in this book as well. But the idea that, like, say you have $1,000 and, let's just say in a good thing, you have a 10% annual interest. So after a year, you'd only have 1,100. But then, the 1100 the next year, you'd be making more on the 10% because the principal was going up. And so the idea is, and also hopefully through that year, you'd be adding more money into the money machine. So it wouldn't just be the 1,000 you started off with, but by the end of it, hopefully you'd have 2,000 plus the 10% interest on top of that. And so the next year it would really be 2,100 that would start compounding. And so the idea is that you do this more, and then as time goes on, the compounding effect of continual investing plus the interest that you get on the investing and the growth you'll get with the investing will create a machine that will produce so much money that you'll be financially free for the rest of your life. And that's what he talks about with a lot of his investing strategies and kind of how to do that. And one big thing he goes into this book is about why fees matter, and about why so many of the things that people invest in traditionally may not be the best things. Like he talks a lot of smack about mutual funds. And a lot of people out there, financial people push mutual funds and all that stuff. But he points out that most people who are actually selling a mutual fund don't even have their own money invested in their own mutual fund, which would probably be a little hint about why it's not the best investment. But also the fact that when you actually examine all the hidden fees in a mutual fund, you realize that they're getting they're getting a lot of the money, but also that every percent that's, not going into your investment is actually taking away a much larger sum down the road. Like it might seem like, oh, it's only 1% or 2% here, but over a 10-year period, it adds up to a lot more just because it kind of gets in the way of your compounding effect. But also he talks about things about how over a 10-year period, 94% or 96% of mutual funds don't actually match the market, and that there's other things you can do to actually, long-term in your investing will get you much better returns, and why you should stay away from things like that. And then he's got the interview section in this where he talks, with a bunch of financial masterminds and a bunch of very well-known investors, and what their philosophy is for the bull markets and the bear markets and stuff. I mean, this whole book was really a passion project for him, because he gave away all the profits of, that he made from this book to Feeding America, because he really just wanted to kind of dive into how the average person, could secure their financial future after in 2008, like I said, there was so much that was just up in the air, and so there was a lot of crashes all over the place, and a lot of people, like half their retirement funds evaporated overnight, and it took years and years for that to come back. And so he kind of wanted to talk about that type of thing. So not strictly a business book, like I say, but definitely can help the investor, and it's good for personal investing, personal finance. Definitely worth a read, highly recommend it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you today. Hopefully you go out there and get a copy of this book. Just so you know, it is a thick book, so it will be a decent read. But here at the Dog-Eared Bar Bookshop, we love reading, so we don't shy away from those pages. So, but yeah, hopefully you enjoy this book, and we'll see you next time. Take care.